Okay, I know this is extra, but there is a problem with electricity there at Chetan sir's house, so I'm taking it now, and tomorrow he will take mine. So let's go easily now. You must be all tired at the end of the day, correct? Never mind. Now, what happens is we have got approximately maybe anything between 20-25 persons on board. That is the full thing what you have got on board. Now, what is the typical situation at sea? You will have one duty officer. You will have one duty officer on bridge. Engine room, we assume, will be UMS class because every ship is UMS class today. Now, you have got a duty officer on bridge, and suppose the fire alarm starts. Now, what happens? Ship's navigation must continue. So, duty officer's job will be continuing with the ship's navigation. Now, moment there is anything like this emergency, we always have one guy manning the steering wheel. Why? Because we may have to alter courses to make sure the wind is on a particular direction and wind is there and so on. So, what we need is basically one man to steer the ship, one man to navigate. Two persons are gone, right? They are out of the way. Then we have got somebody who has to take charge. So, what is the next one? You have got a captain who is in charge of the ship. So, he has to take the command. So, he takes command of the ship in all the respect, but in this case specifically, he may decide to take care of the emergency first and leaving the navigation to the duty officer. Now, the duty officer, if he is continue open sea, there is not a big issue, so he will continue navigation duties. Then we have got one guy who has to come there for assisting captain with communications and other things. So it depends who is the extra person who has been put. Otherwise, you have got basically captain, third officer, second officer, duty officer, whosoever it is. One duty officer will learn. Normally, what happens is, if it is third officer's watch, he stays there. If it is second officer's watch, chief officer's watch, then third officer comes and relieves the duty officer and he stays on bridge and then he assists the captain. Now, if it is open sea or something, it is easier for him because every man is very important in emergencies. So, he will be assisting and one AB is there who will be steering. At times, we may keep it on autopilot, no issues, based on the situation. And say these three guys are on bridge now. Now we have got remaining, say assuming we were 23, you have got about 20 more people on board. So out of that, you will always have one or two messmen and one cook. They are generally given the task of first aid stretcher party. That means they take care of first aid kit and the stretcher, and as they are ordered, they will go to the place so that when you rescue a person, he gets immediate first aid. Now, remember one thing, everybody who is on the ship has done firefighting, has done first aid, has done survival, and all these courses. So, everybody is competent enough to do the job. Next one will be, so we got these three people out of the way. So, now we have got 17 left. 3 on bridge, 3 here. So, 17 left. Chief engineer and ETO. These two are very important technical persons. So there are no specific jobs which are pasted there. Chief engineer will also gather. Now all these teams, other than the bridge team, will gather at normally what we say emergency headquarters. that is where the fire control station, wherever, whatever it is. But control station is on bridge. These guys emergency, where emergency stations, the emergency headquarters is where you have got SCBA sets and all available. So then you have got now chief engineer who will be also going there, and then ETO will also be there, and chief engineer will take his call based on the situation and in consultation with the captain directly. So captain may ask him to do something or isolation of certain power supplies or something else, whatever. So there is a, he may designate ETO, this is chief engineer will designate ETO to do specific job and report back to him. He will take care of something else. But these two are technically skilled persons. So they generally have independent responsibilities based on the situation. So that means you have got 15 left. Now, you may like to have one extra person on bridge because at times there is an issue about walkie-talkie is not working properly because of blind sectors, etc. And you may have to send a messenger. So many ships follow this practice that they have got one person extra on bridge. So 3 plus 1, 4. So that leaves you now 14, assuming 14 left for forming two teams. Minimum number that is required to prepare lifeboat for launching is say 5. 1 in charge and 4 more to assist. Now that puts one team of 5 persons. Why we make 5 persons? This is standby team or emergency team number 2. And it can be called support team, whatever, depending on the ships, we have got different names. So that is the second team. That leaves only 9 persons. These 9 persons will involve chief officer, second engineer, then probably if you have got fourth engineer or something there, or else sixth engineer, fitter, bosun, remaining ABs, remaining motormen, etc. What will be the missing from the emergency team 1 will be third engineer and second officer. They will be part of emergency team number 2 or support team or whatever name you give it. Their basic role in the beginning, when there is fire and you gather there, the team number 1 will get 2 persons ready with SCBA for rescue operation. First head counts will go. Everybody will report number of people. Then you will find somebody is missing. So that means that person has to be rescued. Or depending on the duty, you will reach conclusion that somebody is trapped there. So 2 persons will wear breathing apparatus out of 9. 2 breathing apparatus, 2 supporting them. So 4 persons are gone. That leaves only 5 persons. These 5 persons will have to start tackling things along with support team. Now support team will do first responsibility for them is boundary cooling, closing ventilation and all. So once the location of fire is announced, support team will start closing ventilation, rig up hoses and start boundary cooling. Till emergency team takes control of the full situation. Then based on the whatever happens initially, the support team will shift, that is emergency team will shift and get boats ready. Lifeboats will be kept ready for emergency escape. So lifeboats will be brought to embarkation deck and kept totally ready so that in case fire goes out of control, you can evacuate ship immediately. So you realize there aren't too many people. One team on bridge, 3 plus 1, 4 persons there. Then you have got a team of 3 which is doing first aid and stretcher. Then you have got 5 persons in the support team or emergency team 2 and 9 persons here. 9 plus 5, 14, 14 plus 3, 17. Then you have got 4 on bridge, that is 21, chief engineer 22, ETO 23. So I put it in 23 people. Now in principle, what happens is Captain takes charge. He learns what is the fire. Then the emergency team will lead fighting fire rescue operations, and they will be reporting to the captain. Now, people who wear breathing apparatus are not chief officer and second engineer. These are generally the other ratings who will be wearing breathing apparatus. Support will be there, and chief officer and second engineer stay in control because they have to decide what further actions have to be taken. The discussions go with bridge. Now, one of the most important boundary cooling, which is initiated normally by emergency team 2. Boundary starvation, ventilation control is like you starve oxygen, so ventilation has to be closed. Cooling is there. If any doors, anything is open, you close them and ensure that oxygen is cut off, fuel is cut off, and the heat is brought down. This is what is to be done by support team starts it. Emergency team first concentrates only on rescue operation. When there is no rescue operation, then they start fighting fire. Then again, you have got two teams of 3 each to approach fire with fire hose or anything else, fixed firefighting equipment which can be handled, and based on the team is split further. Now, there are different ways of attacking fire that will come across afterwards. Boundary cooling. Now, you realize one thing. Fire spreads in 6 directions, that is 4 bulkheads, deck head, and deck. 6 sides, like every cube has got 6 sides. So fire can spread through 6 sides. And in case there is any ducting, that ducting also fire spreads. So that is where those dampers and all what we saw must be closed. Now boundary cooling starts means what? Just put the water there to cool down the metal. That is boundary cooling. So you keep whole area wet. Electrical circuits isolation, normally this will be taken care of by either your cutoff supplies or something in emergency, then it will be cut off straight away. Else ETO and chief engineer will take care of it. Chief engineer also may take care of the fuel supplies cut off. We are using emergency shutoffs and all. Now, as the heat builds up, you put water, it evaporates. It becomes dry again. So your idea is to keep everything wet all the time. That is the idea of boundary cooling. Now, when you have got a lot of heat, so you cannot use the fire hoses that easily, and you need a protection for yourself. That is where you got different types of nozzles, where you may have a water curtain, and then you are approaching and cooling the bulkheads all the time, deck, everything. Wherever you put water, try to cool down the place so that fire should not spread. Now, this boundary starvation, what we are looking at it, that is if you have got access to the cabin or something and where it is happening, then what you do is you start removing things which can catch fire. That is, say my cabin is on fire. So what we remove is from other cabins surrounding me. We try to remove things so that the bulkhead, now it is not easy task anyway, so that the bulkheads become clearer and there is nothing next to bulkhead to catch fire. That is what we are talking here. If anything is there which can burn, we remove it. Like, it's not that easy. Let me be very honest, because every shape it is fixed. You don't have that much of time to remove it. Now we come to ventilation. Is generally either you use the flaps to close it, or you stop the fans, and then there are many places the fusible links and all which will close themselves, or there are places from where remotely you press a button and all the ventilation will get shut off depending on the type of ship. Now, command team. Every ship has got a command team, that is captain will be in charge. assisted by one navigational officer along with one AB and one more person as a messenger one. But based on number of people, you can't define exactly, but minimum three. They keep overall control of various parties because all the teams may not be at one location to exchange information. So the whole communication is done with command team and command team passes the orders. So they coordinate all the teams. They monitor. They monitor effectiveness as they keep on getting reports. Yes, is it getting under control, not control? Then they account for whereabouts of all persons on board. That is done right in the beginning when every team reports number. Then the command team is keeping the track. And okay, all 23 present. That means there is no rescue operation involved. Let us attack the fire. This is how it goes. Then recording times, event communications. This, even though we are mentioning it here, it doesn't have a priority over the actions required to control the fire and extinguish the fire. Recording times, events, etc. can be done later on. No issues, but you have to fight fire first. You cannot be saying, let me record it first, then I will do. No. This is of secondary importance. Maneuvering ship to make sure the relative winds and all, that is a captain's prerogative. He will adjust it. He will maneuver the ship accordingly. Monitoring ship stability and free surface effect. Again, now this is where we will be noticing it from bridge is what we won't know amount of water that is getting collected, but the free surface effects and stability has got direct linkage to ship's rolling period. So generally when we sail out, we have got exact idea of how many seconds ship is taking to roll when we sailed out in on the normal condition. Now the period of roll increases means there is effect on stability. That is again captain will judge. He is the most experienced person there. Then collating, disseminating information from all, and because it's a command center is dealing with communication, so they get information, they know what to do with it, and then they coordinate all the teams for the final results. Then they also need to communicate with external parties. Other ships may be around. You may need help, so you may tell other ship just wait. I have emergency and I may need your help. Rescue services if they are involved and coordinating with any shore-based help. Shore-based help may be another ship, rescue services, or it is a bigger coordination required because of there is a risk of pollution or danger to environment, etc. Now, this contingency made for alternate venues. Now, what happens is suppose accommodation is on fire. So obviously you can't be standing on the bridge. That is where you will have all the heat and fire. So there must be contingency plan. Okay, in this case, where do we shift? And they may shift out on the deck somewhere, and from there the thing will be done. Now what happened? Accommodation on fire on top doesn't mean engine room is out of access. It's accessible still. So fine. You what you need is a water, and then you approach the fire from bottom. That's the way it will go on. Now, this all stuff we are repeating again, key person substitutes, etc. That is what we have seen on master list. Now, some people may become casualties themselves. It's possible. So you have got key person to exchange them. Now, what it comes out? Somebody who is in charge of command team has to take charge of the situation. He has got whole picture in mind. So he has to think of everybody, not just saying only I want to do this. No. Emergency team 1, 2, stretcher party, chief engineer, everybody. But when somebody is taking charge of it, you give a very clear order without panic, without a hysteria, which goes very often, but very clear, concise manner, and it must be understood by everyone. Now you will get some advice. Agreed. You get advice, but you have to take the call as a leader. No arguments there. Do not allow arguments. Be flexible and reassess the situation as it develops. You cannot say, I took this call and now I will stick to it. No, you have to be very flexible to realize how it is going, because again, you realize when we are talking about emergencies, there are very few people on ship who have experienced emergencies, because our skill is avoiding emergencies. So there are very, very few persons you are going to come across in life who have got experience of these emergencies on board. We are not like fire brigade, where their job is to fight fire every day. So they will be experienced. So they will not make so many mistakes. But it's possible that our call may not be right. So you have to reassess and take the corrective actions as it happens. Now, organization is always like this. If the leader becomes casualty, the next person has to take over. You cannot be crying over abhi kya karega wo gaya. No. So you identify it in the beginning and you train the person. Now this happened long back actually. In 1980, when I did MATE certificate in Hong Kong, our syllabus covered up this part, which was not identified in India, but under UK syllabus, in case master becomes incapable for some reason, chief officer should be able to take charge of the ship and bring her to port. That was a part of syllabus. Now that is exactly what we are looking here. If captain, something goes wrong with it, sure, chief officer should take over. If not chief officer, somebody else. Now, depending on the situation, individual parties like emergency team 1, which is supposed to be fighting fire. If it is a typical deck fire anywhere else, normally chief officer will take charge. Why? Because he knows those areas much better. Cargo hold or anything. Where is the cargo? What is it? Front store, forward store. But if it is in machinery space, second engineer knows it better. So second engineer becomes in charge. Chief officer becomes his assistant. It is not that I am chief officer, so I am in charge. No. Emergency team leadership are based on the situation, especially emergency team 1. Now, specific duties are given, like emergency team 1, chief officer tells second officer, go and close these fire dampers, number 2, number 4, whatever is the number, identifies them. And when it is done, the second officer will report back, yes, these dampers are closed. It is not one-way order. It is a closed loop communication. Now, you don't take over any task which will inhibit their ability to keep whole picture. That means which will limit their ability to lead. Why? Because I took something on my head, trying to do justice to that, I forget my focusing. Because I am the leader. I have got responsibility to lead, and that is my first priority. Rest of the things come afterwards. Now, when the commander, means the captain, is giving direction, they are routed through the team leaders, not directly to team members. You have to follow the pecking order type. Means I will tell something from breeze to leader of the emergency team 1, chief officer or second engineer, whatever the case may be. And then he will pass forward to his team members. Always in that way. Okay, pecking order. Smoke ventilation. Now this is a topic which is little complex. Now what happens is, when we say ventilation in raw man's language or in simple languages, you are supplying oxygen. Why? Because it is also part of ventilation. No? Why do we ventilate? To remove heat, this, and then there is also to get a fresh air. Now fresh air means 21% oxygen. Now it is little complex situation. Now, sometimes because of fire, some ventilation may open up because rubber gaskets are burned and the air starts leaking. Then, now ventilation, there is automatic. The self ventilation is manually closing. Automatic ventilation, it happens activated automatically. Vents either close, open. They can be done both ways anyway. Or fusible links are something that you have studied earlier. Tactical one. This is the important part, which is the tricky part. Now what happens is, there is fire. Now fire needs oxygen in the bottom, not on top. Because from bottom it takes the oxygen and it burns out. Now flame is at the bottom, the heat is on the top. That is a typical flame. So there are issues here. You have got smoke-filled compartments. Now we have seen on passenger ships, atrium has got smoke release system. Like when we studied it, I told you that there will be a big panic if the place gets filled up with smoke. So what we do, you remove the smoke, because in smoke I can't see anything. What fire am I going to fight? I don't even know where is a fire in that big place. I am in with the hose, but I don't even know where is the fire. It's full of smoke. That means you must release the smoke. When you release the smoke, the risk comes that, okay, you're also going to supply oxygen. Now, what is the better of the two evils? That is the decision. That is the call. Which one is a lesser evil? Now, this is what we are reading on it. Now, these difficulties, what I was talking about. To continue ventilation may allow air to get there and increase the fire. To close off ventilation will trap heat and smoke, and we don't know. Fire is spreading and we cannot fight it. So you got both ways. This is a difficult call. It is not easy call, and that is where you need a good coordination, because you have to know the ship very well. If you know the ship well, you know where are exactly the ducts from where you are getting the supplies, which one can be closed, which can be opened to supply the air to blow off smoke. That's it. Now, see, this is one type of ventilator. It is open, okay, in funnel. This can be closed remotely. So we come back, when to ventilate, when not to ventilate. So a difficult call. Boundary cooling continues, no matter what happens. Now the question comes, when I have to approach the fire. Now this example will show you. This is why we need to know the ship. What will be natural flow of gases? Means how the gases will be flowing in fire. Which are the open apertures and forced ventilation? What are the directions? That is where I told you the ducting positions, where it is there and how it opens up and all. Now, hot gases can be blown back to the firefighters, then there will be big issue. Even though you are wearing a suit, hot gases are really hot. It's a fire. We are not looking at a joke. Hot is very, very hot. It is like air fryers. Then whether now venting or hot gases, will it improve the visibility so that you can see the fire, you can approach the fire? Now see these two examples here. This is where there is a fire. Now what happens is everything is filled up with smoke. So even if you put people here to approach, they can't see anything. Where will they put the water? Why? This is closed. Ventilation is closed here. Now somebody who knows the ship very well and he decides, no, what we will do is we will open up here so that, and we'll supply the air, so this will blow like this, and this is what is done. Now what happens is this team gets access to reach the seat of fire for extinguishing it. That is important part. So it is a difficult call, but we have to work on it. Now, Solus requires this atrium, control station, machinery spaces, concealed spaces. There has to be means of controlling smoke spread. That means there has to be arrangement to ventilate the place even when there is fire. Okay, and that is where we work out. Now, depending on how much you supply and how much to blow. Now, suppose you have already blown off the smoke, you can stop ventilation again. It is not necessary you have to continue. Based on the situation, it has to be done. But this arrangement is compulsory for atrium, control stations, machinery spaces, and concealed spaces. These four must have a means of controlling smoke spread. That means some sort of a ventilation system which can be used to blow off the smoke. Now this drought stops and all, because it depends on the situation. Again, it is something to do with design of the ship. It is not easy. But just remember, you need smoke extraction system for these four places. Okay, we'll finish this search problem and then we'll stop. Okay, it's not going to take much. Now, searching in compartment filled up with smoke. Now, again, the person who wears breathing apparatus must know the ship well. If he doesn't know the ship well, it is very complex for searching for a person. Why? Because you're feeling everything. You just feel and touch, and then you all have played the games as kids where you feel, right? Your eyes are closed and you feel, and that is how you go. Now, guidelines, normally it's easy to talk. You're not going to get guidelines. All you're going to get it on a ship is companionways with a railing on the side, so you know where you are and how you turn. All the alleyways always have railings. Ship's alleyways always have railings because of ship is always moving at sea. So the railings are there. You learn to use the railing in this case as guidelines. Moving around, working with touch. Now, shuffling the feet means you don't lift up feet, you drag feet. Okay, you just drag feet and move okay, like this, like this, like this, like this. That is shuffling. So dancing, so you know what is shuffling. Without lifting a foot, you're moving your foot and moving. Now, that is one, because that is how you feel with your foot. So in case you see there is a step, you will notice it because you're shuffling feet. If you just lift up and put, you will lose balance. Now, one hand goes in the front, 30-40 centimeters, and palm towards yourself. The reason is, in case you get a shock, the natural reaction is to move like this. You will not grab it. It will move away from the electricity, the contact point. If you do like this, it will grab like this. That is the reason you put hand like this. And you do like this. Up, down, you feel. Because everything you're trying to feel by touch. So foot is moving, shuffling, and with the hand also you are doing it. Then your hands will be encased in gloves, so you're not going to feel the temperature that easily. But if there is excessive heat, you will feel the sensation that there is a heat. That means fire is close by. Normally you will be insulated, but if it is extra heat, you will notice something. Once you start seeing, then you bend down and you try to see by going on hands and knees. because you otherwise you can't bend. You go on hands and knees and look from bottom in case you see. Now you cannot make out where is the seat of fire by looking at the smoke. Smoke doesn't guide you, because how do you know smoke is coming from where? Smoke is filled up in compartment. You don't know. You know there is fire somewhere. You don't know where it is. So there is no way trying to use smoke to get to the seat of the fire. The heat, yes, in case you can start detecting it as you start approaching fire, the heat will increase. Now that needs fair amount of heat, like your gloves will be protecting you, so you will not notice so much. And you are not going to remove gloves to feel the heat. Now, if you can see the burnt paint, because you will not be able to breathe anything, right? Your air supply is coming from somewhere else, so you are not going to breathe smoke. But if you notice blistering paint or plastic, the damaged plastic with heat and all, then you know you are close by. Now, some doors may be open, some openings may be closed. Again, you have to know the ship and you have to work out what is it. Is it open or is it closed? If it is closed and you have to enter it to get rescue the person, fine. Next is disorientation in smoke. It is the same thing when you are blindfolded. You can get disoriented. You have played the game, no? Where you are tied up and then gol gol ghumata hai, then chhod deta hai, and then you are supposed to find, because that gol gol ghumana is to disorient you. Because otherwise, all of you are smart. You will remember your direction. So that is exactly what happens when you actually have smoke, because then you don't see anything. Search patterns. Now this is where the skill job comes in. Like I will show you one search pattern here. Either you follow left and right, that is the same thing. What is that? In maze and all you do it, no? You follow only one and you will always come out. Okay, this is a standard explanation. Now see here, I want to show. This is the cabin. If you enter here, you just follow right, okay, and you're also shuffling and all. So in case somebody you're trying to rescue has fallen anywhere, you will be able to touch. Moment you detect somebody is there, then your main job is over. Now you have to drag him out. Now see, he goes around the bulkhead, goes around the bed, then goes, using hand, searches the bed. Nahi hai, follows according to the bed. That means there is a furniture you can touch. Goes around, sees here, again follows it, follows the bulkhead, follows cupboard. You will open the cupboard and feel for person inside. The reason is it is possible person got panicky, could not come out, and he was hiding in the cupboard to protect himself. Possible. So you also check in the cupboard, and don't check only on top, because person may have collapsed. So you also use the foot to check. See, you follow the pattern, you come out. Following bulkhead, that means all the time one hand is in touch with a solid bulkhead. Once you come here, then comes the dangerous part, because there is an open area in the middle. Then you will walk without touching anything. And, using hands like this, and the foot like this, horizontally and all moving, and this is how you search. Those are the major challenges in searching. Okay, now we stop here. I will get back on your chatting mode. Let me know. Okay, let me know if you have got any difficulty. Put it on this. I will also give you voice. Unmute. Any doubts in this what we did just now? No cat.
Go on.
Any doubts? So put it on the chat so I will know who has got doubt and you are asking me. Did you understand what I said?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Ritik, you understood?
अबे यार हम गलत आगे ढूंढ में थे पहले.
हाँ.
गॉड मत खेल, क्लास में ध्यान दे.
तो समझा नहीं समझा?
Yes, sir.
हाँ? What is it? जरा सा yes no बोलो chat पे.
Yes, sir.
Understood, sir. Yes, sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
In case doubt, of course, you can send me on mail, and that will take care of everything. I will put up this lecture also. I already loaded the last one, and this one also I will load it on the YouTube. Okay,
Sir.
and let me see you all are actually looking at it, because I can see the hits, no?
Yes, sir.
Then see, अभी क्या करेगा? There is nothing much we can do. We are stuck. So make best use of it. It is always opportunity. Okay. So I will stop recording now.
Aniket.